The summons came before we reached the border of Imperial space. A coded transmission, layered in the sigils of the Inquisition, pulsing through the warp like a heartbeat of iron. It found us even in the void between stars. That was how I knew we were already seen. Leora brought the data slate to me on the command deck. The edges were scorched from encryption burn, the Imperial Aquila flickering red. "Captain," she said, voice low, "it bears the seal of the Ordo Hereticus," Calix muttered in binary frustration. "That means they tracked the harmonic burst. The signal from the Forbidden World reached Terra itself." The bridge was silent except for the whisper of the engines. Outside, the warp shifted and boiled like an ocean under stormlight. Every man and woman aboard knew what that seal meant. The Inquisition did not send questions. It sent judgment. I broke the seal and read the message. It was short. Too short. "Rogue Trader Celine Harlock, you are ordered to present yourself before the Holy Ordos of Terra for inquiry into violations of the Edict of Techno-Purity and the laws concerning forbidden archives. Surrender your ship and relics. Failure to comply will be considered heresy." Signed, Inquisitor Lord Avalon Cord, Ordo Hereticus, a name that carried its own gravity, the kind of man who burned cities to purify a rumor. I had heard the stories. The trial of Cineris Reach, the culling of the harrowed choir. He was the Emperor's hand in the fire. Leora made the sign of the Aquila. "Captain, if we obey, he'll execute us." "There's no trial for heresy, only ash." I said nothing. My eyes lingered on the last line of the message. Failure to comply will be considered heresy. We were already damned. The decision came easy then. I looked at Calix. "Can we mask our warp trail?" He hesitated, his voice quieter than I'd ever heard it. "Temporarily, but every trick I use angers the machine spirits. They know we flee from authority. They'll have to forgive us," I said, "because if we don't run, we die." We dropped from the warp near the edge of an uncharted system. 3 dying suns and a belt of shattered moons. The air on the bridge was thick with tension. Every light dimmed to crimson to reduce our signature. Calix worked without pause, rerouting power lines, silencing Vox channels, sealing data links. Still, the message replayed in my head. Avalon Cord's voice, cold and absolute. "Surrender your relics." What relics? The memory of Adrastia? The song that haunted me still? Astara approached, her veil dark with fatigue. "Captain, I felt something in the warp when the Inquisitor's message came. A mark placed upon us. It was not just a summons, it was a brand." "Meaning?" I asked. "They can follow us anywhere now. The brand burns brighter when we move. If we jump again, they'll see the flare and come." The thought chilled me. Then we make them come where we want. We moved deeper into the dead system. There was a station here once. An orbital manufactory from the early Imperium, half destroyed, its husk spinning slowly among the asteroids. We docked within its broken shadow, engines silent, hull lights extinguished. The crew gathered in the dark of the mess hall. Fear was heavy in the air, the kind of silence before a storm. I stood before them, not as a captain, but as the last Harlock they had left. "You've all heard the summons. The Inquisition believes we've uncovered something forbidden. They're right. We found a world that should not exist. We woke something older than the Imperium. And now they want to bury it again, and us with it." A murmur ran through the crew, half awe, half terror. Someone whispered, "Then we are lost." "No," I said, voice steady. "We are chosen. My ancestors sealed this truth once. I will not. Whatever the song is, whatever it means, it's part of who we are. And I'll not let the Emperor's silence erase it again." Leora met my gaze, torn between faith and loyalty. "Captain, the Inquisition speaks for him." "Then maybe it's time someone spoke to him," I said. A hush followed. Even Calix paused his mechanical movements, his lenses focusing on me. That night, as the Virili drifted in the dark, I stood at the viewing port and watched the fractured moons turn like slow silver blades. The song whispered faintly again, not through the ship this time, but inside me. They will come for you, it seemed to say. But you are not alone. And somewhere deep in the warp, something answered. A signal, a call not from the Inquisition, but from another ship. Old code. Harlock code. I turned toward the darkness, heart pounding. Adrastia's line was supposed to have ended with me, but perhaps the bloodline was not as dead as the Imperium believed. The transmission was faint, cracked by centuries of static, but the signature was unmistakable. The cipher of House Harlock. It pulsed through the dark like a heartbeat I hadn't felt since childhood. I stood alone on the bridge, the glow of the astrolith casting cold light over my face as the message looped again. Selene Harlock. Blood of Adrastia. The line endures. Do not return to Terra. They will silence you as they silenced us. Trust the signal. Follow the shadow beyond the veil. My first thought was that it was bait, a trap set by Inquisitor Cord, using echoes of my heritage to draw me out. Yet the code was pure. Its encryption layers matched archives I had seen once in my family's hidden vaults, relics sealed before my birth. Only a true Harlock could have sent this. I called Calix and Leora to the bridge. The Mechanicus adept analyzed the code with his data spines flickering. Authentic, he said reluctantly. Old Harlock encryption predating the schism of Mars itself. No forgeries in Imperial records bear this signature. Leora frowned, clutching her rosary. Then who sent it? Your bloodline is gone, Captain. You are the last. Maybe not, I murmured. Or maybe something wearing our name. Before we could speak further, alarms shuddered through the deck. Warp resonance, the arrival of ships. I turned to the viewport and felt my stomach turn cold. Shadows filled the void. Black ships, their hulls painted with the sigils of the Ordo Hereticus. The Inquisition had found us. Multiple vessels, Calix reported. 1 capital class, 3 escorts. Their augurs have locked. We are trapped. A voice crackled over Vox, sharp as razors. Rogue traitor Selene Harlock. This is Inquisitor Lord Avalon Cord. You are surrounded. Power down your drives and prepare for boarding. Your relics and all witnesses are now property of the Ordos. I stared into the darkness beyond the glass. The ships were beautiful and terrible. Their hulls lined with cathedral spires, their banners shining like falling suns. I imagined the thousands aboard, zealots, stormtroopers, confessors, all waiting for one command to burn us from existence. Leora looked at me with quiet despair. Captain, if we run, the warp will flare. They'll follow. If we surrender, they'll kill us, I finished. Then the Vox chimed again, the same Harlock code. This time stronger, closer. Another ship was emerging from the shadowed edge of the system. Its silhouette was unmistakable. Long, elegant, predatory, like a blade cutting through the dark. The crest of my dynasty gleamed on its prow, faint but defiant. A voice followed, clear and steady, carrying the weight of memory. This is the oath unbroken. Stand by, Selena. You are not alone, Leora gasped. Calix's optics brightened in shock. That ship was lost 3 centuries ago, he whispered. Destroyed in the Maelstrom Wars, its wreckage recorded by the Administratum. Then what's flying it now? I asked. The answer came not in words but in action. The oath unbroken opened fire. Lances of pale light ripped through the void, cutting across the inquisitorial escorts like divine wrath. One exploded instantly, its reactor bloom casting a brief dawn over the shattered moons. The others scattered, returning fire, But the oath moved with impossible grace. Faster, more aware, as if it anticipated every strike before it came. The Virili shuddered as energy surged through our systems. Calix's hands danced over controls. The oath is transmitting a power link. They're boosting our void shields through the astropathic link. I grinned despite the chaos. Then let's repay the favor. Target the nearest escort and fire all batteries. The void lit with fury. Macro shells screamed through space, tearing into the enemy hulls. Flames bloomed where faith had failed. Yet through it all the Inquisitor's voice returned, calm even as his fleet burned. So the heresy spreads by bloodline. So be it, purge them all. More warp signatures flared, reinforcements. The Inquisition never came alone. But before the trap could close, the Oath Unbroken sent one final pulse. A set of coordinates, hidden in a burst of static, buried beneath the noise of battle. I understood at once. They're opening a warp lane and a safe vector out. Calix, engage it. Now, he hesitated. Captain, it's blind. We don't know where it leads. Anywhere but here, I said. The Virili dove into the breach, the stars stretching into threads of light. The last thing I saw before translation was the Oath Unbroken turning to face the Inquisitor's flagship alone. Its hull shining like a dying ember against the dark, and then silence. We emerged in a void unlike any I had known. No stars, no light, only a pale nebular haze that moved like breathing mist. The warp was quiet here, unnaturally so. Calix looked to me, awe and fear mingling in his mechanical voice. Captain, this place is outside Imperial charts. We are beyond the Astronomican's reach. The message from the Oath replayed again in the gloom.